IBCon stuff up on our website?
We good, folks? We're live? All right. Hey, welcome to the live stream here at Controltrends. A lot of people consider controls guys bandits, right? I mean, kind of like Breaking Bad. Good guys and bad guys. We got Ted Houck from Hepta Systems, and Ted is accused of looking a lot like, what's the guy's name?
Hank.
Hank.
Yeah, not Hank Hill. Not Hank Hill.
Yeah, Hank the agent. And then Jeff here, Jeff Houck from AI Automation Integrated. If you look at him, he's kind of got the Heisenberg Walter White look. So
there you go, right there.
That thing. And the cool thing about Heisenberg and Walter White and even Hank is they were brilliant. They came up with new ways to do things, and we're real pleased today when we were out at the Niagara Summit. We saw a package you guys put together that I think is the service integrators and the controls integrators are really going to like, and appreciate you guys coming in and showing us. So the rest of the day, we'll turn it over to Jeff Houck. And Jeff, a.k.a. Walter White, a.k.a. Heisenberg.
Yeah, forget Walter White. Yeah.
Will walk you through this cool product. So take it away, hey, Heisenberg.
Thank you. Say my name. There you go. Hey. It's great to be here, and thanks for everybody joining us live online. So just a quick rundown about what we want to do today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about AI and what we do for a living and how we can help you guys out. And you're going to have to not show that around because I tell you what, that's pretty funny. Yeah, Eric's over here showing me myself online. So funny man. So talk a little bit about AI, and then we're going to introduce some new concepts to everybody out there. So just talk about the need for control contractors as we go into the next 3 to 5 years for some new products and what those products are going to be, and then we'll move into a description about what our product that we're announcing is, Glyph and Blueforge, and what they are. And then we'll move right into a demonstration. So automation integrated, and can you get Chris in here? Almost 5 years ago, Chris and I started Automation Integrated. We left our previous employer and became partners in crime. We called ourselves the pirates of the building automation world. So yes, I'm going to keep moving around and messing with you. So. We called ourselves the pirates of the building automation world. The joke was we were broke. We didn't have any capital to start the company up with, and we didn't have any install base, but we had really good engineering capability. We decided we were going to go start our own control contracting firm. So we left clean break and went and started selling like hell, if I can say that on your TV show here. So what we did was we went out and started doing systems integration work. So we would go out and put Niagara user interfaces on broken old buildings. We'd apply analytics. We'd do some software development, write and configure drivers. And these guys are killing me. Am I in the wrong place?
No, we're good.
Okay.
Don't listen to anybody else, Jeff.
Okay, all right. They're all making hand signals and stuff. Okay, so what we did was we would go out and find these broke old buildings. We said the dirtier, the darker, and the more broken, the better. And if we could couple that, if we found that with a guy who was giving a customer poor service, that was our big opportunity. Because what we didn't have was a huge amount of install base to go behind and get higher margin service work. The move ad changes, the negotiated remodel work, that money just wasn't there for us. So what we did was we said we're going to focus in on service. That's going to be our primary tool, and then we're going to go into places where we find what's going on right now with the obsolescence of so many systems. We're seeing these big manufacturers roll up and push their older legacy proprietary systems into obsolescence, and it's a huge opportunity out there. But it's not something that everybody can do. So that was what we focused on, and then we've been very successful with it over time. So as we've done that, we've been one of the fastest growing companies in Oklahoma. And from our very first business plan, we intended to have a strong software development group. We felt like that was a way to differentiate ourselves from from our competitors in that master systems integration space. So we have a full-time software development shop that we do full stack. We do controls contracting in the Oklahoma market, and we provide MSI services outside of the state of Oklahoma. So those of you who work with Eric, and as I said, we're a direct link spring partner, and we don't often use a distributor, but when we do, we use Stromquist. So, and you should too. And now he owes me lunch. So, so what we've found over time is we're beginning to see more and more interest out of customers in analytics. Analytics are difficult to deploy. Systems change, systems are modified, writing rules is difficult. So we're finding a space to begin to provide analytics for customers. We've seen, the last couple of years, anybody who's a Niagara guy, you've lived through the Java desktop browser plugin wars. I mean, last year we had 70 some odd updates to the Java desktop browser plugin. We're seeing the end of the Java desktop browser coming up. So a lot of what we're doing now is going to guys like you out there in the controls world, and we're helping them upgrade their customers maybe into an HTML5 user interface. We know there are some things on the horizon with other Niagara systems, and we want to help. We want to be that ally. And I had a long talk with Eric when we were out in San Jose a couple of weeks ago about one of our core beliefs is we as at AI, we believe in the integrity economy. If we come in and work with somebody, it's your customer. We work for you. So that's why so many control contractors out there are comfortable bringing us in to help provide those type of services. So if you've got customers that are looking for upgrades on their HMI, if they're looking for analytics edition, if they're looking for CMMS integration, if they want video surveillance integrated into their Niagara, or they want Niagara security integrated with their HVAC, any of those kind of things, and you guys would need some assistance, we're here, we're training wheels. So with that, we want to be able to market. So as we've done multi-site installations and retail installations, we've built tools over time. So the tools that we've built, that we've used internally, we have taken those, deployed them as a cloud service now, and we're going to make those available to you guys. So with those, we're going to show two things today. The first one that we want to talk about is it's the great database in the sky, and it's called Glyph. So Glyph is a technology that's it's a 2D barcode. It's called a QR code that we use to deploy to tag assets out in the field. It is a data ingest layer, so we've got a really cool Niagara service that we're going to show. So there's a web portal that you would log into, get your credentials, you get a token, you load the Glyph service onto your Jace, you put the token in, and magic happens. So what happens is the Glyph service will read the ORDs inside of the station. It'll push points, it'll push live data to our cloud service, it'll push a backup, it'll push your license files, it'll push all the installed modules on your Jaces. Everything that you need, if you had a multi-state installation, if you needed to FedEx a Jace to somebody to replace one that had failed, that's the core functionality that we're talking about. We're offering the backup service for free. So that's one of the things that we'll show today. So if you think about it, a 256 meg Jace times the number of Jaces out there times whatever percentage of participation we get is not a huge amount of data, but it is a huge tool and a lot of value to you and your customers. And oh, hey, Eric just came in with a paper plate sign, no joke. And he said to give a shout out to all of the viewers in Philadelphia. So, Pittsburgh, oh, Pittsburgh. Now he throws, see, he puts the sign down and now it's my fault. I love that. I love that. So, welcome to everybody. So Glyph is a tool that will initially give you a no-cost value that you can begin to sell to your customers. So you go in, sign up, you get a backup service, and all of a sudden all of your sites everywhere are backed up. You can download them. Only you can download them. We can't download them. And now you magically have the ability to back up your customers offsite. The second piece is, if you, on top of that great database in the sky, we're beginning to show our new asset management application. It's a web application that is built out of that database. So as you enroll your JASES and maybe even begin to enroll devices underneath, we're going to show you how to take an asset management system and use it to sell service contracts to your customers. The need for this, guys, where this is coming from, the pricing pressures in your economy that you've got to start thinking about is this year, we have seen our first Wi-Fi communicating gas pack rooftop unit. So if you will go in, if you're an estimator and you'll go into one of your estimates and you go in and you delete out the controllers, you delete out the network cabling and all the labor associated with those, all those things, and you take an average 100,000 square foot building and you start deleting out the DDC controls and all of those things, see what your revenue per square foot washes down to whenever you get done. If you don't have affiliated services that you can begin to provide your customers, you're going to find yourself in a revenue crunch in 3 to 5 years. It's coming, guys. The way that you need to solve that, the way that we're solving that, and the way what has made us successful at Automation Integrated is we focus on recurring monthly revenue. So if you can get service contracts and begin to sell things like software as a service, that's that mailbox money that helps you ride through the slower times. You're going to have to start moving that direction. The rise in embedded Linux systems at the edge is going to change our industry profoundly. If you start thinking about a Wi-Fi communicating factory controls VAV box from some manufacturer that just shows up on the network and you don't have to do anything, where's your margin? Where's your livelihood going to come from? Service contracts is a piece that'll help you ride through that. Where you want to be in 3 to 5 years is you want to have enough service contracts written to where it makes your payroll. That's the kind of life that you want to be living. So, with that, we're going to go ahead and talk to Chris Favre. Chris Favre is our Executive Vice President and founder of Automation Integrated, co-founder.
Yep.
And we're going to roll through the Blue Forge service.
Okay. So as Jeff talked about, Glyph is kind of the big cloud repository for the data itself. It's written on an open API format so that we can rapidly deploy various solutions to meet your needs. As he mentioned, internally we developed this so that we could deploy and maintain multi-site retail situations when we have to work with multiple contractors out in the field. Glyph was a good tool for us to use to help retain the data and also know where all the virtual assets were. Since we also have Blue Forge is a way that we could tie the physical assets to the virtual data. So now we could do searches to know where is the latest backup at? What version do you have installed? What's your memory utilization? You can also help track that change control process so that when you work with multiple contractors, each contractor and each change set is properly recorded and documented. And best of all, it's stored there on the cloud, so you don't have to worry about disk or, as we were joking about before, zip drives and CD-ROMs and the old sneaker net of who has the last backup, because now it's live and on the fly. So along with Blue Forge, there's many different tool sets that we have within here where you can do a parent-child association for your physical assets. We can document and do inspections so you can know if it's working, or as a contractor, it's always nice to know if something's still in warranty or when it was replaced, when it was installed, if there's any details on it. For instance, here, we conducted an inspection down in New Orleans, and we said, well, back on 5/12/16, the last inspection had some loose wires on it. But imagine going and checking a VAV or checking a smoke damper and finding that the damper seized up. It doesn't work. It's awful nice to be able to document that for yourself and also for your customer so they can be aware of the status of their control system. Here also, we can see child relationships of the controller to different devices. We can see data points that may be associated with it, and we could even go back and look at some trend data.
So just as an interesting point to what Chris was talking about, all of the inspections that have ever been performed on that device will be available. So as it's parallax scrolling like Facebook. As you keep scrolling down, you keep seeing news feeds that are older and older. As you scroll back into time, as you go down, what you'll begin to see is the last guy on the job site and what he did, the last repair work order, the last PM work order. And then, so as you scroll down, you begin to see pictures of the devices as they, from when they were new and as they age forward. So at the very top, you'll see current status and all the points. And as you scroll down, you'll see the device as it kind of as you go back into history. So and I'll give it back to Chris. I'm going to jump ahead.
This gives you a good picture of your facility over the life of the facility, from installation all the way through service. As you do your preventive maintenance inspections, you can easily follow with what's going on. And all this is part of the BlueForge application. BlueForge is a full-feature web application, but the service that we really found valuable for us was the backup service. We created an automatic backup service that can reside on the Jace, on any Niagara appliance, on a supervisor, so that way you can secure your data in the cloud. We felt it was a good tool set for us to use, so we wanted to give it out there to the community so they could also reap the benefits from it. Joked a couple days back, if anybody lived through the old lawn maker days running on a Windows 98 machine, we all know how important backups are. I've dropped laptops, I've had them stolen out of vehicles, and when your latest greatest is right there and gone, you feel lost. Well, this is a tool to help save you from that bad situation. So I'm going to step you through a process of how you would get started using Glyph. So if you just point your browser to the glyph.me website, you'll be presented with this screen. You can go over here and click on these three bars, or as they also call it, the hamburger. I had no idea that's what this icon's called. If you click on the hamburger, you can click the register button unless you already have an account. To register the first time, you need to type in your name. So we're going to type in Mr. Mechanic Mike. And Mr. Mechanic Mike works for Acme. And his email address may be mike@acme.net. And we're going to type in a password for him, something real secure like password. And his organization isn't available, and the reason why is because I've already created somebody before using Acme. So now I've already enrolled Mr. Mike. We can go in here and log in as mike@acme.net, password. And here we go. I just signed in for the first time, and because I don't have any glyphs, I need to create a site. I'm going to go here and click on the hamburger again, and I'm going to click Sites. We're going to add in our first site. And the name of this is going to be The Warehouse. And the warehouse is going to be Stromquist. And we can type in our lat and lon. And this is really handy whenever you utilize the map features. So that way you can tie your virtual assets to your physical assets. So that way where you know your data really is, where it physically resides.
It's also very handy for Google Maps integration. So you can navigate to it on a map, click the icon, and it'll flip over to Google Maps and let you navigate there if you're a service tech.
So here we're going to register our street address. We are located in Smyrna, S-M-Y-R-N-A, in the great state of Georgia. You got it. All right, we've created our site. And here we are, Acme 1. We're located at the warehouse. Now, here at the warehouse, we have devices. In fact, we have a Jace running here at the warehouse. So we're going to add in our first device. Down here in the lower right, you'll see the plus sign. By clicking on the plus sign, we can add our first Niagara device. And we're going to call this Jace 6. And I'll tell you what, let's give it a different name. Let's call this thing, I don't know, a steam controller. And the make is going to be, we'll use Johnson for this. And let's say this is a FX20. All right, we got our first device in there. We can also add additional Niagara devices as well. So if we wanted to add in a chilled water controller, if you notice there's an autofill feature in here, so that way if you start to type in repetitive things over and over, they'll automatically appear. And this is going to be a link spring, and this is going to be a PC 6000. And there it appeared. All right, so I've got my chilled water controller. Whenever I click on my controller here, if you notice, when I clicked on it, to the right it slid in and it shows that glyph. The glyph is the QR code. So we have physical stickers that we like to put on our devices, so that way you can use an app and scan the device to pull up the data. But likewise here, you'll see a picture of that glyph that we generated, and something very important down here, the token. So the token's about 150 characters long. It contains the information to help secure your data in flight and also where it resides. It's kind of like your key. So I'm done with the registration part. Now I need to put it into action. The way I put it into action is I need to make sure I have the Glyph service. If I click on the hamburger again, and I go to the downloads, I can download different AI modules that are available. So here I have the Glyph service. When I click and download the Glyph service, it's going to download as a zip file, and this is a module that you would need to install in your Niagara instance, in your Pro Builder workstation, whatever you may call your Niagara tool.
Just as an interesting point, here is a service that we wrote that will disable the Niagara weather service. If you had, when we had the weather service problem a couple of weeks ago, we've got thousands of JACEs deployed, and we had a lot of sites down. And so we wrote a service that would run on a supervisor, and as the JACE would reboot, as soon as it rebooted, it would reach into the JACE and turn the weather service off, so that it could continue to run after it rebooted, and we gave that away for free. So sometimes you can check back, and there may be some additional services there that could have some value for you.
Yeah. Firmly believe in the power of the community. All right, so once I have the AI Glyph module installed, I can go here and I can load into the palette. And I'm on just a little training JACE that we have loaded up. And installing the Glyph service is as simple as a drag and a drop, and that's all it takes. Once you install the service, you'll notice here where it has this device token. Remember the device token from way back here when we had our devices? We click View. If you just simply copy and then go back and paste that in and save, now I've associated the right token with the right device. I can right-click, Actions, and build the points. If you notice here, there's two features. There's a history schedule and there's a backup schedule. The history schedule is for our full-featured BlueForge service that includes all the points and some of the graphics that you were looking at earlier. But the backup schedule is important for the free service. So to set up the backup schedule, it's just like any Niagara schedule object you've used before. You can set it up for a manual trigger where you can fire it in a particular order. You can set it for a daily backup service, or or you could even set it up for an interval backup service. So once I set the backup and I right-click, fire the trigger, you'll notice down in your job services, it initiated that backup. This is sending a full distribution backup up to the cloud service. The data is encrypted in flight, and it's secured there in the Glyph framework.
Do you want to show them how to navigate and pick the ORD?
Sure, and that's what we're fixing to do next. So right here in the root ORDs, this is where you can pick the points that you want if you're using the full-featured BlueForge service. Here you can simply click Add, and then go to the component chooser. And from the component chooser, if you want to do just a specific subset of points, or if you want to do the whole device and all the points contained within that container, you can select it. Here I'll look at one of our test panels that we have in the office. Under Points, BACnet fan coil unit, select it, save. Once again, I'll go ahead and build points now, so that updates within our database.
So what just happened there, Chris?
Well, what just happened is these containers that I have selected here, whether it be Points, Sandbox, or even that Niagara network, what's happening is every 2.5 minutes, according to this history schedule right up here, every 2.5 minutes, those points are being updated to the Glyph framework. So they're being stored in the cloud. The nice thing about them being stored in the cloud is we can go back, and if we want to look at any historical trends, we could see them at that interval level. So no longer are you just dependent upon having the historical services on the JACE itself or on a supervisor, but now this is a third way to store that data for historical analysis.
Why are we finding that to be important?
Well, it's real important because, as we all know, things happen, right? You can have problems with the controller itself. You can have software issues on a supervisor that may crash it. Sometimes we have unexpected issues that may occur with a weather service, but this provides a third path. And there's many other ways too.
One of the
reasons.
One of the things that we're also beginning to see is customers are beginning to be concerned about ownership of their data.
Very true.
For their assets, for their building systems, because the data is a source of a lot of power for a customer's enterprise. If you start looking at somebody who's it's an owner-occupied facility or a high-value retail property, the air conditioning system becomes more and more important in the operation of that building. If you think about some big insurance company or a big oil company that maybe has a payroll in a building that is $20 million a day, and that is not an unreasonable number, and the air conditioning system goes out. Once, if you can help that customer avoid those type of issues using analytics, that becomes very, very, very powerful for those customers. Using a service like this lets them aggregate lets them aggregate all their data about the asset and its performance in the cloud at one place, and then you can bring applications to it like different analytic platforms. So.
Exactly. So I'm going to go here and let me log out of some of the things we were looking at.
Chris,
yes, sir.
While you're doing that, we do have a question from our live audience. Is it a good time to answer that?
Yes, sir.
All right, it's from Pradeep in Mumbai, India, of all places, and he wants to know what's the charge for this? Or
Well,
do you have to buy it?
Dee, that's a good question. Actually, the charge is free. Okay, so free as in like really free. The way we see it, this was a good tool for us, and we felt it was important to share with the rest of the community. There's no charge for the backup service at all. We do have a full-feature BlueForge system that we're fleshing out and adding more features to, but right now, just for the Niagara community, the backup service is free.
So, if you think about all the memory in a JACE, if you look at a 256 Jace or something like that, it's not a huge amount of data. So as you move upscale with the product, if you want to view the live trend logs and view license features and modules and those kind of things, there is a charge for that. So we'll discuss that in a minute.
Gotcha. And one of the important things to note is we do mention that it's free, but this is for Niagara devices version 3.7 and up. So we built that around some security features, and our developers felt that was the most secure methodology to keep your data encrypted, where some of the modules are available on 3.7 and up.
3.6 and earlier don't use SSL, and when you're communicating outbound on a customer's network, it needs to be SSL. So here's another opportunity for a control contractor to upsell and tell their customer, it's time to upgrade your Jace to version 3.7. You need to for security reasons.
So now we're going to go and take a look at what's been going on. So we're going to go Mr. Mike at acme.net, and he's going to log into his BlueForge portal. And here we can see that there's a total of 2 devices. If you remember, we enrolled 2 devices at the start of this. And if there were inspections associated with this through the full featured service, he'd be able to pull them up here. But here he could click on his device and look at there. There's the backup. It also shows the host ID right here. That's free for anybody to use. So you could share share this with your team, so that if you had a guy out on a remote site and he needed the latest backup for this chill water controller, he could just simply click, and it's downloading the full distribution file. No more disk, no more sneaker net. It's automatic, it's in the cloud. You can associate schedules with it, so you know you have the latest, greatest.
What gets pretty interesting about this too is as we begin to see Niagara portability.
Absolutely.
So we're beginning to see people talk about embedding Niagara on drives in embedded Linux devices at the edge. We saw some from LinkSpring. We saw some from LSIS drives. So we're beginning to see some embedded Niagara portability, and that's going to make this an even more interesting service.
Yeah. As Jeff mentioned, I mean, our industry is changing. Started off in the days of the old pneumatic systems, and nowadays, just where we're at now, this is the way to go. If you're a control contractor, a systems integrator, this is a good tool to have in your tool bag. This will help not only protect your virtual assets, but also your customers' property as well. And best part about this, Eric, we did it live, online. You saw how easy the installation process was. Everything worked flawlessly. And it's available for anyone to use now. So I highly recommend people check it out. And the way to start is glyph.me, or even better, if you go to AI's website. Yeah, there you go, Controltrends. And Controltrends will have a link, so you can check out the Glyph product, as well as some of our other things that we offer at AI.
Any other questions?
Any other questions from the audience?
I've got one. It's a free service for upload. How do I actually get the download?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that.
So will you repeat the question?
The question was, the upload service is free. How do you download it? Well, if you remember, when you registered here on the glyph.me as Mechanic Mike or whatever name you may have, if you go to your site and you select your site and your controller, right here to the right, it will pull up a link, and it's that target link that you could go to, and it will launch the BlueForge website. Or you could get to it by going to blueforge.us. So you have to remember there's 2 tool sets here. The first tool set is the repository for all the information. It's kind of the data collector itself. And then the BlueForge website, well, that's for your virtual and physical asset management. Here you'll be utilizing part of the virtual asset management features. excuse me, so if you just log in, click on your controller, and then click right there on the download, it's right there and available. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
No, not at this time. So,
All right, very good.
so what are you going to show? Do you want to show the? Let me drive for a minute.
Okay. This is going to be scary.
Oh no, this isn't scary.
All right.
So you still got Blue Forge up?
Yes, sir, I do.
Go
I'm logged in
navigate.
as Mechanic Mike.
Okay, well, log in as yourself.
Okay.
I'm going to show you something that's really interesting, and we've been working closely with the National Energy Security Institute at Oklahoma State University, and we just want to show you part of it through the local electrical cooperative up there, Central Electric Co-op in Oklahoma. And CEC is a very progressive cooperative, and they're beginning to use drones for maintenance. And we've been working with them. Part of where the development for this has come from is, you need to click right there.
Yeah, I think I don't have credentials for that.
Well, let me log in.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Log out.
So what's interesting here, guys, and this one's fun for me, is this is a huge keyboard. Yeah. So what's interesting here, and I'm going to ask Bobby, look, which poll number was it?
So I tell you what, while you're getting that up, Jeff, we have a
Yeah.
question, and maybe
Okay.
Chris, you can answer
Excellent.
there, Bobby, and then if you repeat the question. It is from William in Pittsburgh. He wants to know, how do systems distributors sell or their territories? Can you repeat the question?
Okay, so William from Pittsburgh asked, how do distributors sell this and are there territories? Okay, this is a free service for systems integrators and distributors to utilize. It's a service that anyone can utilize. So through the installation of the Glyph service on the Niagara device, it's yours. There is no distribution, there's no exclusivity. It's a tool meant for systems integrators.
The overall idea is to make sure that we maintain the right relationship with the distributors as well. So our intent is that the distributors will be able to sign in and maintain a relationship with their integrators. So we want to make sure that if you're a distributor out there, we can set you up as essentially a distributor of Glyph so that your integrators can work with you. So that is a key focus for this, because we want to make sure that we're working with distributors because they add a lot of value. You guys, like Stromquist, do a lot of sales and biz dev for guys like us. So map navigation, and I'm on the wrong site here. So if you go into, you can just tell me in a second. Which one is it?
291.
291. So if we zoom in here, and you don't have a mouse.
Just double
Chris.
click.
Double click.
Mm-hmm.
So if you zoom in here, this is actually a pilot that we've done for this customer. And these are actually utility poles. So instead of buildings, we're tagging utility poles out in the field. As you deploy the Glyph stickers, it uses the mobile app actually turns on the GPS in your mobile device and takes the physical location of the asset as you're deploying it. So to do a successful preventive maintenance inspection, you actually have to be standing there. So, and I believe it's this pole right here, 291.
Yep.
So if you have the GPS coordinates of a bunch of utility poles and you know that they're all 40 feet tall, what do you have? What you have is a series of waypoints that you can fly a drone. So this is an inspection on a set of utility poles. And this particular pole, and we'll look at a picture of it, this pole head build out is, you can see it's got an automatic recloser on it. And as you go down here, what you see is embedded video. So what we've got here is video embedded from drone flyby. So we're going to look at this is a thermal image of a drone flying by a utility pole. So we're harvesting the metadata out of the drone video geofencing that around the GPS coordinate of the pole, and then tagging that into this asset. So that's kind of a fun one.
You know, you bring up a good point there when you talk about the tagging and meta tagging. There's been a lot of movement within our industry for projects like Project Haystack. We all know that's a good way to relate and tag data. We also have those tagging availabilities within the Glyph framework itself.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is, if you did a full deployment of the entire asset management system, say you took your bill of material for your building automation system, and you input that into the system so that you tagged, and as you tagged and saw systems get installed, your project manager sees the systems getting installed. I mean, he can visibly see every thermostat, every controller getting mounted as a project moves on. So you automatically tag the system by its nature, just because as you deploy it, you know what the controller is, you know where it is, you know what its parent device is. So for us, SkySpark is just an alias table. SkySpark, it's native. We can say SkySpark. Haystack is just a set of aliases to the data set. So yes, this is a Haystack compliant system that you can add analytics to. So the other interesting thing is you have reference cards. So here's shipping weight for utility poles, in case anybody ever really cared about that. An MSDS sheet. So these are documents that you associate with a device when you build its template. So if you had a KMC Simply VAV controller, a Genesis PC1000, a Viconix thermostat, and you were deploying that on a job, you'd build the template for it, and all the product data is associated with every like device from then on.
You mentioned Simply VAV. If you were doing a VAV project, you could actually put your min-maxes and your heat settings and all of that. You could actually add some data.
So the question
for future reference.
Yeah. So the question was, if you were doing a VAV project, could you go ahead and input your minimum and maximum airflows and some things like that? The answer right now is kinda. So that is an end goal, is that we would like to be able to take the data output from a VAV schedule and have that available to a technician in the field as he's deploying it. It's just that's in the product roadmap. We just don't have it available yet.
I was thinking if you had the, where you had MSDA sheets, you could actually, even PDF or do something with the schedule and actually just bring that in. So
yeah, absolutely. Ideally where you want to be is you want the output from the AutoCAD Revit file to populate your asset management, and then as you construct it, you want to see it being built real time. So what you're doing is you're moving from 3D construction, 2D plans to 3D construction, and then you add the 4th dimension of time, and then the 5th dimension of money, and then the 6th dimension, that is the inflows of manpower and energy and maintenance money that goes into operating it over time. So it's called 6D maintenance. And the last thing I want to show you here is that we can have e-commerce tie-in. So Eric, here's your shot, buddy. So as your distributors are going in and we build these templates out, we can build in the ability for them to link back into your store and buy their MRO parts. So if you want to sell belts and filters, buddy, this is the deal, okay? Because when you're standing there on the roof and you don't have the product manual, and you don't know what size the belt is, and you got a bunch of dirty filters, here's a way that Stromquist can do e-commerce tie-in. Click on the filter and have them drop ship to the site. Because I'm telling you guys, what you want, I want $1, Eric wants a few dollars, and when that stuff hits in your mailbox and you didn't even know you sold it, that's when you know you hit your stride. So, and Bobby, am I forgetting anything else? Am I good? Okay, so those are the overall concepts of BlueForge. So to wrap up, what we've seen today, we've seen the ability to deploy an asset management system based on your building automation database. There's nobody else out there doing that. It's all tied into a cloud service that is using the most cutting edge web technology available. It allows you to bring applications to your data, but most importantly, it allows your customers to own their data. They can change They can change their building automation system, they can change their fire alarm panel, but they own their data. We've shown e-commerce, and most importantly, we've shown the most simple tool to make an integrator's life easy, a basic free backup service. As you guys go in and log into the website to tie in and begin to connect with AI via your distributors and the Controltrends website, as you begin to do that, we'll get you signed up and get you started. And as you do that, you'll see the pricing model, and it's going to go from a few dollars a month to monitor the health of the Jace to $20, $30 a month to monitor all the points in your building remotely. Use this tool, guys. Use it as a way to drive into your customers and say, I need a service contract. I need to update your Jace to 3.7 or 3.8 preferably. I need to have an automated online backup. That right there, there's value to that. You can drive service revenue just with that for free, and here's a tool to do it with. The next step is go into your mechanical contractors that have Niagara-based building automation systems. Go in and talk to them and tell them, here's a way for a few dollars a month that you guys can pay me out of your service contract. Here's a way for you to view all these sites remotely without you having to roll a truck. It's all 100% secure, 100% SSL outbound from the customer site. No firewalls, no VPNs, no IT entanglements. You deploy the service, you input the token, you do what Chris showed, and all of a sudden you've got the backup, you've got the point data, you've got the maintenance documentation, you've got the inspections, you've got the pictures, and you've got the e-commerce. Welcome to the new world. Say my name. Eisenberg, there you go.
Well, hang on, guys, real quick. So I want to thank these guys very, very much for coming in and doing this for us. I think one of the things that really attracts me about this product is the fact that this is a software package that's built by contractors. These guys are facing the same problems you are, so I think they have an understanding of it that a guy like me or a manufacturer or somebody that writes really cool software might not have. So I think that's a really, really cool feature. And again, I encourage you, Jeff, we talk about him on the Smart Buildings podcast a lot. He came up with the term the integrity economy.
Absolutely.
And, and as Ken Smyers and I talk a lot about, I mean, it's very difficult to do it alone anymore, and these guys offer a special set of services. So I encourage you to reach out to these guys if you need somebody to come in and add a piece on, maybe at a high level to help you out. Good guys here, so.
Absolutely.
API level integrations into access control systems, lighting control based on all those fluff and mirror things that we've talked about for 10 years. Give us a call, we'll help you out.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, sir.
And then for our live streamers, we will, if you missed this, we will put a link so you can get more information on it. If you missed the live stream, we will be reposting this, and we will have a link to how to get more information on the product. So definitely check. I think it's a no-lose situation, even though you are dealing with Heisenberg here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Kevin Durant left OKC.
It's too soon.
This is a PG-rated show.
It's too soon. Just you guys circle back in a few months, and I'll
He'll be over it
for you.
You want to hug it out?
Yeah, okay, come here.
It's okay, buddy. It's okay.